But we want to report the delegates today that the feedback that we have received so far is very positive. The participants do indicate that it was exceeding expectation. Delegates wale walikuwa ndani. Can you confirm that? We confirm that?
Yes.
Thank you. Kapite Bobby.
I'm here.
Do you hear that?
I hear that, sir.
Very well. You know, it's good to make the scorecard. So, with that concluded, today and tomorrow will be unusual delegate time for us. Unusual in the sense we have a newborn. We have a newborn. And we've come to know how to take care of our newborn, to know what's the name of the newborn, to feed our newborn, to hold our newborn in both hands, to encourage the newborn kunyonya na makaimere in both sides of the sindio? Hero. Kwani tunasema namna gani? Si anaambiwa anyonye na pande yote mbili ili apate nguvu, anenepe, akipendwa na watu, akipendwa na Mungu na anawili, si kweli? So this is our purpose. It is a very special delegate meeting that we hold. Never again of its kind. We'll be able to go through the processes bit by bit. We interrogated the far we've gone bit by bit. We internalize, we own it. Tomorrow, again now, to conform with the laws of this country and the laws governing cooperatives, we are required, after registration, to hold our first AGM within 1 month or within a considerable short time that you communicate with the commissioner to allow you so that you hold your first AGM, so that now the newborn is well entrenched. Amepewa majina na wenyewe na ameshikwa vizuri na wenyewe. This is what we will do tomorrow. This is what we will do tomorrow. And so, we don't want to take a lot of our time. We want to get the program as soon as possible. And hapa ndio unaomba uwe na kalamu, na notebook, masikio alert, macho alert, na maswali iwe inakuja vizuri kusudi tuweze tukaelewa yote yale ambayo tumeenda.
And we've confirmed that every person who's supposed to be here ako hapa. It's already 10 minutes past 9. It will be a little bit difficult to do an activity. We can start with the main issue of the day. When a chair put it rightly, we say that we have a new baby, and it's time that we do the training on how to nurture this young one to make sure that they are growing in the right way. And to help put this discussion and to start us off this morning, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome the one and only Mr. Nelson Nyoro to help us discuss this issue of KETSA, secondary cooperative, and how we should nurture this baby. Beginning makofi tafadhali. Even as he sets up his presentation, remember that When our Vice Chair is back with a word or two before we proceed.
Yeah, just for the attention of the House. Suluhu, I've seen you come. My eyes are sharp. Suluhu, Muko Abisimameni. How many are you, Suluhu? 2 out of 5. Who is the treasurer amongst the 2? Chief Whip, whom you are getting? So Suluhu kutaona the Chief Whip. Tuna ule international Chief Whip, Bwana Kabude. Because the local Chief Whip has just stepped up. Thank you.
The treasurers here, and all the other board of directors of KETSA. Allow me also to recognize the management team of KETSA, led by Madam Joyce. All the board of directors here, the CEOs who are here, now being referred to as delegate for the purposes of today's meeting. Hamjambo. I think together with directors from Mafanikio, we have the authority to welcome you to Mombasa. So karibuni sana, hata kama kuna wenye nasikia wamekuwa kwa muda, we are happy to host you. And I think this looks like the Teachers' Week. You have seen the kind of population we have in Mombasa. So the economy is feeding you. The economy of Mombasa is very happy that you are around. There was even a joke that was going around. I'm not going to disclose the joke. No, I'm not going to disclose the joke, but the joke was to the extent that we have enough people to host here. So, yeah, that is how we build the local economy. I'm very happy to be here with you this morning. As Chairman said, as we try now to nurture a baby that has been born. I didn't have this photo, but when the Chairman was speaking, an idea just crossed my mind that truly we are discussing a very young institution. In fact, in the business life cycle, we are discussing infancy. So I'm very happy that I have been invited to discuss with you an institution as it is being born. I don't know what was my role specifically, but it looks like my role was midwife. And so I did the role of the midwife, and so I am now coming here. Now that the baby has been born, now I think I am here as a pediatrician to continue seeing how the baby will now grow. I know my teacher is very happy when he sees me here. I say, yes, yes, he's there, Mr. Kiago. So he told, yeah. So I have a personal relationship with many of the institutions that are represented here, and it makes me very happy. And I'm very happy that as we start another crime, I am there. I want to propose that the sector is realigning, and I don't know whether you are conscious to that fact. You know, every time there is a disruption, there is emergence of new things. And without getting into the details, it is true that we have a disruption in the sector. Now, what strategists do? They take position. They start to align when you discover that there is a window of opportunity. And I have a feeling that now you are reshaping the movement of tomorrow by considering a secondary cooperative. To borrow from the words of Peter Drucker, he said that those who predict the future, they help create it. And I have a feeling that we are discussing how we want the movement, especially the Sacco subsector, to look like in the near future and even ultimately. And I am very happy that I participated when when the movement was rearranging, I was there. I consider myself a very lucky person because there are many things I feel I have participated, whether it is as just an ordinary person in the panel, or even whether it is just trying to introduce an innovation. So there are a number of things that I could quote and say, I was there when this was happening. And I'm very, very happy that once more, I was there when the union or the secondary cooperative for KETSA was being born. And I have a feeling that this is likely to be a game changer. So this is how the journey started. We were attempting to answer three pertinent questions. Question number one was the why. Why is it necessary that a secondary cooperative should exist? And for me, I think this is a question that I've attempted also to answer to the delegates, but it is a conviction that time was ripe for a secondary cooperative at the KETSA. Then we went to the how, and we arrived at the what, and that is the what now we are presenting today. Let me share with you the numbers. This is how the numbers look like. We have 41 teacher-based SACCOs, 41 in the country. I was asking Joyce how many are supposed to be here. I was told around 21. So, but that tells you there's still a huge market ahead of us. If all of them are on board, this will be a very significant secondary cooperative. We have 35 DTS that are within the teacher sector, 35, out of the possible 175. So in terms of significance, we have approximately 20%. 20% of the DTs are teacher-based. Now, the moment you exceed 15% in a market, you are significant. So we are a significant cohort of the DTs in the country. In terms of those that have attained Tier 1, we have 17 out of the 47. That makes that 6.1% of the Tier 1 SACCOs being teacher-based. Is that not a significant number? It is. And so that tells you, in terms of even the contribution to the economy, our contribution is significant, is apparent, and there's something we can do about that. We have mobilized a total asset of 278 billion, the teacher-based, out of the possible 832 billion for SACCOs that are within SASRA, whether regulated or unregulated. That makes a proportion of 33.4%. In terms of total deposit, we have mobilized 213 billion out of the 682 billion for all the SACCO-based, the SACCOs and the SASRA. That is 31%. In terms of the loan and the income, the total income for SACCOs that are the SASRA, regulated and regulated, is 136. We command at 2.3% of that. So if we are to look about the viability of this sector, it is now very clear, Treasurer, that this is a very viable sector, and they control a very big proportion of the business that we keep looking at in the SACCO subsector. And so if they were to come up and form a bigger entity, then that entity is a viable entity and it is likely to do more business. So we answered the question, are there needs that need to be resolved? Are there opportunities? Are there problems that we need to align and solve? And that again explains why the idea was hatched. Now, we have been operating at KETSA, and I remember we started the journey of the regulation for KETSA. We even had what we were calling the concept note, or the concept paper. And because of the nature of the registration for KETSA as an association, it was still falling outside what we consider to be the framework for the cooperative regulation, the mainstream cooperative entities. And that explains why the need for a secondary cooperative was very, very important. You even remember there was a notice that was issued by the regulator trying to communicate the need to do business with institutions that are regulated. So I have done what I would consider to be a need analysis, the statement of the problem, why was it necessary for this journey to be undertaken. When you look at some of the mandate that was in the KETSA, there was a specific objective that had the features of deposit taking. And those are the features that we wanted to see whether can they transit to an institution that then will be compliant with the regulatory authority. Now, this journey is a journey that has invited some studies, and there's some work that was done by a joint committee made of SASTRA, the Ministry of Cooperative, and other stakeholders. And an idea was hatched that it is possible to form something that was being referred to as the Sacco, a central liquidity, and the shared services entity. And part of what was considered to be a critical consideration is that they should be few. And few because they needed to be larger, they needed to be bigger than the entities that exist. So when they are few, they would enjoy the economies of scale. It didn't necessarily need to be one, but they needed to be few. Again, when you look at the liquidity management systems or the policy guidelines, is that there is need for a contingency plan to manage liquidity issues in the cooperatives. And as we live today, there are still those contingency plans. Now the secondary cooperative was also coming to fill in that gap of a contingency plan for liquidity management, which is domiciled within the cooperatives themselves. So this again was an opportunity available for this sector to think of how can we, within our setup, come up with an entity that could help us do that. And like I'm putting it, there are very many discussions around why this was an important idea. And so the entity that was to be formed needed to be an entity that is within the boundaries of the cooperative sector for the ease of regulation. And I think I have laid the background in terms of then what is it that we are presenting. So we are presenting what we are now referring to as KETSA, Shared Services Cooperative Society. Now, forgive me, the Sacco, the cooperative is now KESECO, which is KETSA Secondary Cooperative. So this, I can see some people who are taking a photo. Allow me to correct that right away. Okay. Sacco. Yeah, so that is the secondary cooperative. And a lot of thinking went through in terms of even how the name was arrived at. The cooperative is now registered. When was it registered? I even remember even the date. September 6th. Because it was a significant move. Chairman, I must thank you, together with your team, that you provided leadership. One, because it was an idea that was new. We start there. And the conversation would have caught the stakeholders unawares. But because you are very keen and provided leadership, we managed now to have the union registered. So what was the main objective? The overarching objective of the union was to promote financial stability and competitiveness of member SACCOs by providing central liquidity facility, a shared technology platform, and access to the national payment system. Now, you realize it is overarching, it is a dream, it is an aspiration, that the gap between where the SACCOs are and where they want to be, a vehicle is created. And this is the vehicle that will be used, will be the bridge between this realization and where we want to be. So part of the specific objectives, one is to create and operate a liquidity reserve account for each member SACCO society, to receive a prescribed minimum liquidity amount from the member SACCO society, receive deposits from member SACCO society, invest in government security, offer short-term lending to member SACCO society, facilitate inter-SACCO lending among member SACCO society. And if you look at the regulation, this is still something that has now been at large. It is something that was conceived in the regulation, and that is 2010. In fact, even in the SACCO Act 2008, but we have not seen it happen. Now, the union is coming to say, because this was a desire and an aspiration, is it possible that we can structure it? Then source for fund from other sources for purposes of on lending to SACCO societies, subject, and number 7, I have again been very lucky to interact with other partners who are doing a lot of business with SACCOs. As we speak, there are so many initiatives that are targeting cooperatives. There's a lot of work we are doing with USIP, targeting cooperative. There's a lot of work we are doing with even the government, the World Bank, targeting cooperative. If I was to mention particular programs that are there, we have a program called Kuza Jamii. And the Kuza Jamii, it has started with 8 counties. I was lucky to participate in the training of the cooperative development officers. It is now going to escalate to 25 counties. Part of those counties could be our counties. We have a big program called NAF-CDP, again targeting cooperative. It is in quite a number of counties that are represented here. There is a lot of work that is being done by ILO, targeting cooperatives. There is a lot of work being done by USID, targeting cooperatives. It will be interesting to see what is it that we are doing that can align with some of those programs, and what is it that we need to do to benefit. Number 8 is subject to compliance with the requirement of the Central Bank Act, subject to compliance with the requirement of Central Bank for the purposes of the national payment system, provide shared technological services, provide periodical report, and other prudential reports to the authority. Now, this is basically presenting the union for regulation to SACCO, because it is important. One is because there is already a directive that the entities doing this kind of business with SACCOs should be regulated. Settle payment transactions and promote operability amongst member Sacco society. Again, this is in the area of technology. Create and administer an inter-Sacco and Sacco to bank funds transfer platform. Issue payment instrument to member Sacco society. Create corporate entities as its subsidiary for purposes of meeting its objective. And then undertake any other activity as may be prescribed by the authority. Now, I want to pause there and now open up this discussion, because this is the gist of the discussion. Now, when you look at the object clause for any entity that is formed, you start to understand what this institution will be doing. And for that reason now, this is a good opportunity for engagement. And particularly, either a question leading to how will this be done, or possibly an input, somebody saying, I have understood this and I like it. So I want to pause for engagement. So that does it look like, yes, very good, thank you, thank you. Who has a mic?
Mr. Nyoro, there is objective number 8.
Objective number 8.
And 9.
Okay.
Who's going to regulate the KETSA? Is it the central bank or SACCO?
Okay.
Because 8 and 9 seems as if there are reports that will be made to central bank.
Okay.
So which is which?
Thank you very much, and I'm happy that that was a very keen eye. Now, if you look at the overarching objective of the union, of the secondary cooperative, is even to link the SACCOs with the national payment system. Now, that is a long-term goal. It is not a short-term goal. When that will happen, for you to participate in the national payment system, then you have encroached into the jurisdiction for central bank. When that will happen. However, the primary regulator for this institution is the Ministry of Cooperative, the Commissioner, and SACCO. But you are also aware, even today, there is the role of central bank in the Sacco business that we do today. Isn't it, Vice? Yeah. There are reports that once you release them, they go straight to central bank. In fact, we normally say this, that the headmaster of the financial sector regulation is central bank. So there is an extent to which, even today, it is still happening. I hope I have answered you. Yeah. Okay. Another comment, observation? Now, when you look at these objectives, some of them are very heavy. Very, very heavy. Very heavy. Some of them are already happening. Let's look at some of them that I consider to be very heavy. Yeah, number 7. Number 7, it is something that we should have achieved a long time ago. But for some reason, not number 7, number 6, facilitate inter-Sacco lending among member Sacco society. This is something that we should have achieved a long time ago. But for some reasons, we have not been able to achieve this. And I want to believe now, because it is an aspect in the regulation, by the time now we'll be developing the mechanism under which this will happen, some of the key actors will be the people now also, of course, managing the regulatory, or SACCO will also be a key stakeholder. Look at number 10. Provide shared technology services platform for the Sacco society and other qualifying entities. And you'll appreciate, again, this is effort that many other actors look like they want to do it. you are already aware that we have two entities that were registered that looks like they were trying to achieve the same objective. One was registered by CAK. I don't know how far it has gone. And the other one is what we call the Sacco Central. Those of us we were with in Naivasha, remember the remarks made by the PS, and he said that if you have been holding a baby for 2 years and the baby is not crying, what is the status of the baby? So that was a very strong comment. I want to believe that we will do something to ensure that this is achieved. Yes, George. Oh, okay. Let me start with the director so that I am on the right side of...
So thank you so much, Mr. Nyoro. We want to appreciate for the premises from where we are coming from. That's why we love workshops as compared to seminars. Because in seminars, you stand there, you tell us. In a workshop, we participate.
Sure.
Allow that I prove my ignorance. We are in a KETSA workshop.
Yes.
I wished to read some genealogy so that we start. Now, this KETSA workshop. Now, KETSA is now giving birth to SACCO, whatever it's being called.
Yes.
I think there's some background that we wanted created to us and to me as a person. Because in the feasible dispensation that we are having, at one time we read about primary cooperatives, secondary cooperatives, then federations, then the apex. Today now we are learning about SACCO as a secondary cooperative. Then at one point you are talking of a union. I mean, personally, at one point I'm lost. I think we wanted to get some clear, synopsis, clear genealogy. Now we are talking of SACCO. No, so who is KETSA in this place? What will be KETSA? Who is this SACCO? A secondary cooperative, a union? Where are we? Or the feasible dispensation now changed? Or there are some changes that have already taken place and we could not be aware? Kindly. Thank you.
Very good. So let me see whether I get the question. Very important. Let me hear what Judge wanted to see, then I see whether I will link the two.
No, in fact, I just wanted to ask the same question.
Okay.
What is the relationship between KETSA and SACCO?
Okay.
And what are the different roles that each of them is going to be carrying out? And also in terms of which will be reporting to the other one? Where will be the point of intersection between the two?
Okay. All right. So some of the, what is the relationship that is going to come as we look at the governance structure for SACCO. So let me start with the premise. Now, in the cooperative bill, I don't know whether now to refer to it as the 2023 or 2024, because we were hoping that it would be done by 2023. It is still in Parliament. It started with a sessional paper. And the sessional paper looked at the structure of the cooperatives in Kenya. It pointed out to a number of things. One is that the cooperative structure, the way we knew it, had collapsed, so to speak. So one of the things that the bill attempted to do was to bring back a structure that is understandable, a structure that is in tandem with how the cooperative should be aligned and how structures should be created. And so it created 4 structures. The first structure was for the primary cooperatives. The primary cooperative, all of us who are here are representing primary cooperatives. Now, the primary cooperatives, 2 or more could join and form a secondary cooperative. So a secondary cooperative is essentially, in the literal meaning, is the union. So, but the term that was used in the bill is a secondary cooperative. Now, the secondary cooperatives could federate and form a federation. It was desirable, again, that the federations are not very many. And then after that is formed the apex. And the apex would have been the CAK. So there were 4 tiers, the 4 tiers in the dairy sector. The only limitation is, because the act is still not enacted, then there was no rule to register that federation. So as far as the structure is concerned, I hope I have been able to clarify that those are the 4 tiers that I envisaged in the cooperative movement. Now, if you look at KETSA, registered as an association. When you look at some of the objectives that KETSA had, like for example, that is why I have highlighted this objective of the KETSA Central Fund. This objective, now when SACCO issued, is it a warning or a notice that it is important to do business with regulated institutions?
Thank you. You are coming up very well. So as delegates, so where does that one now leave us? So is there a clear distinction? Now, you've pulled this object, of course. So where does that one leave now KETSA as an association? And KETSA now is giving birth to SACCO. So what is the distinction? So the primary SACCOs will continue belonging to KETSA at the same time to SACCO. And I know we shall also be coming to the leadership of the two. You know, that's what we want to clearly define that. Yes.
Then you have then gone ahead. So who can be a member of a SACCO? The first qualification for you to be a member of a SACCO is that you must be an active member of KETSA. Now, I believe at that point now the relationship is apparent, isn't it? For you to be in the SACCO, you have to be an active member. Why? Because the union, the secondary cooperative is not affecting the life of KETSA. In fact, other than that objective, that one objective, all the other objectives under KETSA will continue to be under KETSA. It is just like pulling one and say this is a very big objective to be under the ambit of KETSA. So you create an entity, you give it a life. So it is one objective that has become big enough to find a life. Let me take you to your primary societies. I don't know how many of us in our primary societies you have what we call special purpose vehicles. Special purpose vehicles.
Sorry, I thought that when you are talking of membership,
yes,
it would be membership of the SACCO.
Yeah, the membership of SACCO. Not KETSA. Yeah, thank you. So how many of us have special purpose vehicles? Either you have an insurance agency, you do. Aha, very good. Yes.
Immediately. True.
It is when you go with the raw materials that you used to create. So you appreciate, it's a journey, isn't it? We have done a journey. I didn't do some very good work in terms of now that it has been born. So this is who can be a member. So this looks like this objective now has gotten a life of its own, and it can form a special purpose vehicle. And the special purpose vehicle is now hereby referred as the SACCO. Is that okay? Oh, very good.
Okay, thank you, Mwalimu. I dispute the name.
You dispute the name?
KETSA,
Uh-huh.
Kenya Secondary Cooperative.
Yes.
We cannot lose the identity of the teachers. It should be KETSA, Kenya Teachers Secondary Cooperative, not KETSA. KETSA has no meaning. We cannot lose the identity of the teachers. Kenya Teachers Secondary Cooperative, KETSA. It can be silent. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and you know, I like that. Huh? In the rebranding, because now the institution is already registered. Huh? Yeah. Yes, it can, but that can be a journey of rebranding, isn't it?
I know KETSA. It's KETSA Secondary Cooperative.
Yeah, that
it's
is
not Kenya.
Yeah.
It's KETSA.
Yeah.
KE is not Kenya.
No, it's not Kenya.
It's KETSA.
Yeah.
So I think the identity is there.
We wanted it to be good for the mouth, but he's feeling like the removal of T has changed the understanding of the institution. And you know, because names are powerful, I would not want to contest that view. But now we are saying that can only be in the rebranding journey. But we appreciate the premise of KETSA, of KETSA, is that it is formed by KETSA. It's formed by KETSA. Yes, sir.
I was seeing the director struggling to put another name. Now, in Kenya there is something we call public participation. This public participation, these are the delegates. Then you are saying it's already registered. If we go through public participation, because the delegates were to be consulted before. So if it's already registered,
yes.
How was it?
How was it formed?
Who did it? Yeah.
I like that. And by then now, yes, Chairman, some of these battles are not on the mind. Yeah.
Yeah, very good conversation. When you are in a journey and you are struggling to succeed, I want to recognize that we called you delegates in Nakuru, and we presented the journey we had walked, and we asked a go ahead. And when you come to the go ahead, and when you are going for registration, you are told to propose many names. You see, there is this aspect of delegated authority by you, since at every stage we have walked, we have always carried you along. But there is a point where you get and you are, required to make a quick decision to jump over. By the way, may I bring this right before we get so far? First and foremost, you remember our meeting we had with the commissioner hapa Mombasa. Tulikuwa wapi? Kilua. a meeting that looked almost toxic. Do you remember that meeting? That commissioner was very emphatic that we are leading the movement in the wrong direction. Do you remember that meeting? And I had to cool you down and tell you that a lot of things are happening behind the scenes. Because we had done a lot of persuasion, a lot of lobbying, and a lot of bringing every other player into the picture, so that we can be able to get the next stage. We had so many people behind the scenes who are supporting us, but you see, there is a stage that we are passing up. So now, when we reached at this point, and we were asked to present names for it to be registered, we had to propose names. And this one we do on your behalf. Because my delegates, it's not every dot, comma, abbreviation that we come back to you. In fact, we will not move. If that happens, you may not move. Na ndio wahenga wakasema, tukiangalia chongo ya kila mmoja wetu, huyu ng'ombe hata enda na kukama. You know, because there are so many intricacies that come within a very short time that you must sort within that time to be able to find yourself on the other end. Last 3 weeks, we visited we paid a call as executive to the CS. He was also posing the same question. You teachers are so crafty. How do you go about your needs? This bill is in Parliament. Sijaiweka sahihi. Na nyinyi tayari mmerejesta. How has this happened? He was so startled na tulimpata off guard. Na akasema hii Kenya lazima itawaliwe na walimu. Kwa sababu ninyi mnaruka mbele ya nini? Because we have a purpose and there is a destination we want to reach ourselves. And remember, this is a new space. John here has said, we are, whenever there is a disruption that comes around, then those who will survive are those who will take strategic possession at the correct time, at the nick of time. And there are things that cannot wait. And if you wait, the entire infrastructure changes. The entire architectural work changes. Because somebody else is also struggling to get to the same space. So we had to secure our space by registering this name. It is easier to rebrand than to register. When we rebrand, we shall be rebranding our own. And we can give it whatever direction we want to give it. But what is very important is we are registered. And so we can now be able to move along with our what? With our business. And what is in our business is not so much our name, but so much that we are operating within the frameworks of law. Remember again, to our CEOs, it has been a tall honor to register your books to SACCOs. Some malicious guy is there would ask you, what is this animal you have invested in? You query? Has this been coming as a question to CEOs? Yes. Yes. Again, we have to secure you. This is November. Where are we ended to? December. Sindio? Si mnaanza kupeleka mahesabu hadi January. So again, we had to secure you that possession. We don't want you to undergo this agony time and again. Qualifying the same thing every other time. What is safer? We register our entity ahead of time. Domicile our business in the correct space. Make our work easier. From there, anything else that we want to do with our elderly, because here mtu mwingine, it is for us to run. The other day, nilikuwa naona Sacco teacher Sacco. Today, what do you call it? Where is teacher Sacco?
Where is the T?
Where is the T in Sacco? Where does it matter most? I was a teacher Sacco. Where is every today in the winners? And all of us sitting here. Who is called a teacher Sacco here?
Kitui teachers the other day after school.
Kitui have struggled many years, na sisi hata sisi wenyewe tunajitolea kwenda pale kusaidia to remove the T. Why is the T now becoming a capital? Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Chairman.